If you know how I came up, you realize I was just a scared kid that found drive and passion to be something much better than what he thought he was. When you're driven, whatever's in front of you will get destroyed. I was so driven to succeed in this race. This became me against this race, me against the kids, and me against me. It's so easy to be great nowadays. Most people are weak. This is a softened generation. So if you have any mental toughness, any ability, if you have any fraction of self-discipline, the ability to not want to do it but still do it. But if you can get through to doing things that you hate to do, on the other side is greatness. I used to hate people not liking me. One of the hardest things in the world for me at a young age was, my God, I just want to fit in. I want to fit in. I want you to like me. So that's a horrible place to be in life because you lose yourself. When you want to fit in with people so badly, normal people, no better than you, you do whatever you can to fit in. That's a bad place to be. You lose yourself in trying to create a character that other people will accept. That's where I found a lot of joy, man. This is God. This is me. I'm still working on myself. Take it or leave it. You don't like me? Take a number and get in line, man. Only thing that gets me mad nowadays is that so many people die with untapped potential because they think that someone else is better than them. And they were born not with the greatest tools. You need the ability to grind your ass into a fine powder. And when you're in that fine powder, find a way to build that back up repeatedly. And it's possible. If you want to be great, you want to be best ever at what you do, you could be misunderstood by everybody because you're going to be so obsessed and so driven to get there. That's what it takes. It takes every second of your life. Anybody says balance? Yeah, balance is important for a lot of people. It is. But if you want to go to that edge where people do not like you, don't understand you, question everything you do, you've arrived. When you are misunderstood to the point where people think you're psycho and you're nuts and you're this and that, why are you in the gym at 1 o'clock in the morning? You just got through doing an op for 13, 14 hours. What's wrong? You will never understand what is wrong with me. And that's why I'm so glad you don't, because I'm in the right spot. When people don't understand you anymore, you're in that spot of obsession and drive where people are like, what is wrong with this guy? I don't want to talk to you, man, because you're not going to get it. I don't want you to get it. The woe is me mentality. It's too hard. Life isn't fair. These things in life are not easy for me. You look to your left, you look to your right, and you start to judge yourself off other people. Like if you're a female, well, she's skinny and she doesn't work out as hard as I do. And everything starts to corrupt your mind. You start to look around too much at other people and what they're doing, and that starts to corrupt your own dialogue. We are judging ourselves against too many people. You have to judge yourself against yourself. And that's the one thing I started learning, man. This isn't a race against me and Rich Roll. This is a race against David Goggins and David Goggins alone. And once you can silence all that outside interference and things that are attracting your mind to everything, you can then start to grow in realizing I'm stressed out for no reason. This is my own little race. This is my own timeline. And this is how I'm going to run it. I don't think enough about people that have wronged me or situations that have wronged me. Because once you come to a place where you are really happy with who you are in life, no one with you anymore. You know, like I used to be so hurt by everything in the military, and if someone did something or said something, like, man, I have overcome so much. I'm just in a really good headspace right now. My headspace, I own it. A lot of people own other people's headspace. They're more caught up in what other people think about them than how you feel about your own personal self. So a lot of people have their brain and their mind on rent to a whole bunch of motherfucking world. I am paying rent on my own headspace. I finally put a down payment on it, and I'm making payments every daggone day on my own brain. One thing about life, it is very unpredictable. But one thing's for damn sure, people are very predictable. So what that means is you can prepare for the assholes of this world. So we are teaching right now anti-bullying. We're trying to change anti-racist. We're trying to change bad people. Well, in the long term, that may work out. But in the interim, that ain't gonna fly. So for you to continue to complain, get your butt hurt over people not liking the way you look, the way you sound, the way you dress. You need to change on how you look at those people, what they say to you. You gotta start armoring your mind. Start preparing yourself for what's out here in life. Build confidence, build self-esteem. So when people talk to you, it doesn't matter. Stay hard. October 31st, I put a video up and it showed my leg with a lot of edema. I got a lot of bad comments on that. A lot of hate came out of that thing, man. That I'll never run again. There's a good chance I wasn't going to. But I thought about it for a long time. And they had this stuff out there called Calm. Before you go to sleep, you play it. Ocean waves, birds, waterfall, thunder, all that. I made a Goggins remix of All You Talking. I put that on to bed. Woke up refreshed, ready to kick ass. A lot of people who are hearing this right now might get motivated from my story or something I said. And they may want to go out and start running. They may put their running shoes on and they may make it to a quarter of a mile like I did the first time. And at a quarter mile, you may be winded and extremely exhausted. And you may never want to run again. And your motivation may be gone because it hurt real bad. But a lot of you who are hearing this will go way beyond motivated, and they will find a drive and a passion and an inspiration and an obsession. And when you start saying words like obsession and drive, you become a person that many people don't understand who you are anymore. You become a person that people want to put a title on of you're crazy or you're just, what's wrong with you, because they can't understand what is driving you. Many people in this world don't have the kind of drive to push them through things that are extremely painful. And that's why I talk about motivation and drive so much, is that you want to be a person that life doesn't get in the way of what you have to accomplish. When you're motivated, life will put that kindling out and you will lose the spark and you will go right back down to your pathetic life. When you're driven, you're living off of that big log in the woods that has that 10,000 hour fuel that burns for days and hours and it keeps burning and burning and burning. So that's what drive is about, man. And you want to get to a point where no matter if you haven't paid your bills, if you don't have the right money, you still do what you have to do to succeed in life. I actually sat back when I was fat, nasty, out of shape, miserable, and created a human being in my mind that didn't even exist. And said, that's what I want to be. I want to be that guy. I want to be a guy that's capable of doing exactly what I'm doing today. And if you weren't born that guy, that mentally strong guy, he can be made. Woman, man, whatever the hell you are. It can be made. But in making that person, you have to be able to turn down book deals. You have to be who you are every day of your life and never care about anybody who gets in your way that said you're not doing something the proper way. I find people that I trust, which is a very small group of people who are honest and true to me, people who will die for me, and I'll die for them. And everybody else, man, do you. And I stay to myself. And I let you do you. I don't judge people. I don't criticize you. You want to be a douchebag and be an ass, do whatever you want to do? I don't care, man. I am in this world alone. I'm fighting in this race by myself. No one knows the real truth about me, how hard I really go. I don't care if anybody knows. I don't want anybody to know. I'm an introvert. I live an introverted life. And I love that about me. That right there is my fuel. Is I know that there's really no one out there grinding like me. And if they are, so be it. If I know about you, I'll make sure that I up my game. That's what the mentality is all about. My whole thing is a mentality thing. The biggest thing you have to do is shut off technology. You have to go dark. What I mean by that is you have to be quiet in your mind. Get away from people. We love being around people. We love talking. We love parties. We love all that. It's okay to be alone. It's also okay to be unhappy. It's okay to be unhappy sometimes, man. So you gotta go to the truth first. Who are you? Get really accountable and say, okay, who am I? What's the truth about me? Get to that dark place in your mind. Figure out, it may take months, it may take years. Figure out your purpose. Figure out what you want to be in life. And then from there, okay, I have my purpose. It may take a long time. No one knows their purpose because it's too loud. Find your purpose. From there, all right, you gotta start planning. People love the planning phase because it's very comfortable. Then from the planning phase, you gotta go to execution. So the execution phase is what we all hate because that's where the real work begins. And that's when the failure happens and the failure and the failure. That's kind of how you have to do it. No one had any good advice for me. I was alone. But I went to the mirror and I looked at it and I said, my God, man, you are on your own. And what are you gonna do about it? That's when I slowly started to change my life. But you know, it doesn't happen that quickly. I slowly started to change when I was about 17 years old. I went to a recruiter's office and the recruiter said, hey, you have to take an ASVAB test. Long story short, I failed that a few times. I had one more chance to take that test. And that's when I really developed my work ethic. The most important step we're ever taking in life is our next one. A lot of us get our feet stuck in concrete. We get our feet stuck in concrete because we're afraid to make enemies. We're afraid to speak what's on our mind. We're afraid of being in that group of people. And when you walk away, we're afraid of what they might say behind your back. All that fear clouds your brain, clouds your thinking. One thing in life, you're gonna always have haters. Embrace them. If you can walk on water, trust me, the haters will say, you can walk on water because you can't swim. Learn one thing, shut the noise out. Embrace the fact that people don't like you. It means you're doing something right. Stay hard, stay in the fight. This applies to everything in life. Anytime you move from being normal to trying to be exceptional, people aren't gonna like that. And nowadays, it's very easy to be a coward. Why? We got Instagram. Most folks don't tell you to your face. They go online. Don't let cowards get in your head. You start to create a whole bunch of people that aren't even yourself. If you don't get over that, you're doomed. You never figure out who you are. You never live up to your dreams, your ambition. You live up to what whoever is around you that you like so much, that you want to emulate and be like so much, you live their dreams. So you lose your power. Being accepted is one thing that killed me. You have to learn, what do you want in your life? We have so much influence coming at us that we are so lost. We don't know what we want to do because we don't spend enough time with ourselves. You have to learn to shut off a phone, shut off a computer, shut off a TV. And it's okay to sit in a room by yourself in a chair and just think about you, where I want to be, where do I see myself tomorrow, the next year from that. And it takes a lot of self-discipline to be able to do that nowadays because you want to be so attached to everything. You want to be so caught up with the world. The world's moving too fast. The world's moving so fast that you're trying to keep up to the point where you lose yourself in the world. So you have to take that time and go to that dark place in your mind and discover who you are. Life created this person, me. Life created me to be this person I was back in the day. And I had to realize, man, that's okay, man. It's not my fault. Now I gotta go back and fix this though. So a lot of this isn't your fault, why you do some things you do, why you feel the way you feel. But no one's coming back to save your ass. You have to go back to where it started, wherever that place is for everybody, and have the courage to go back there and start fixing what broke you. It's ugly. And what's funny about it is that as you're trying to fix yourself and dig yourself out of this deep hole that life, society, and you helped also, those people who you saw down there in that hole who were there with you, who are your friends and people who you counted on, you meet the people in the same situation that you're in life. Those people become your friends. And the second you try to get out of that situation and become better, those people are in that grave, in that dungeon, just yanking at your heels. Come on back here. So I get that all the time now. People would constantly remind me of who I used to be back in the day. And they always come out of the woodworks, man. I'm fascinated with the guy, Free Solo. He's another guy very similar to me. He has a passion to do something and he's in at all costs. I'm not so impressed with what he did. I'm impressed with how he shut the whole world out when he was doing it. He didn't care about, to me, this is how I see it, to be able to pull that off, you have to be willing to accept death. You have to be willing to accept you're not going to see your loved ones anymore. You can't care about your loved ones when you're on that rock. Nothing mattered to him but that rock. Those people fascinate me. Those people who are able to put themselves in a place like that, and very few people understand that, to want something so badly. Because I don't think he believed that he was going to die. I don't. I believe that he was willing to sacrifice everything to pull that off. Those are the people, and there's very few people like that, who are willing to say, you know what, man? You don't get me because your feet are nice and firm on the ground. That's where you're going to put them. But for me, there's more to life than that. And for him, that lasted, I don't know, 3-4 hours. I'm not sure how long that took him. I don't know. It took him a while. It's over now. He risked everything for just a few hours on the rock. And I've done that with my own self, with my own personal life. Is I've risked so much, but what he gained and what I've gained in these 3 or 4 hours, in these moments, are something that people will never know, because they've never put themselves on the rock for 3 or 4 hours and put everything on the rock. And that's something that very few people can understand. They think he's crazy. And those are the people I can't talk to, because it's not craziness. He found something like I found something. I found this. I'm exploring this. He was exploring this. He explored it on the rock. I explored in different venues. Those are the amazing people that's where I find amazing, who are willing to say, look, honey, I love you, but you have to understand something. I have to go away for a while here. I may not be with you all the time because it takes 100% focus to pull this off. I need quiet, I need dedication, I need sacrifice from myself. And I need full support, because it's gonna cost everything to do this one thing that takes 3 or 4 hours. That's the dedication I'm looking for. And that's the dedication that does not exist in this world. I had to always reset the bar. I had to reset my new norm. There always had to be a new norm. So one thing we don't do is we don't have a new norm. My new norm is you get up every morning at 4 o'clock and you suffer. This is your new norm. Most people want to get out of it. I said, no, this is your new life. This is who you are. Your new norm is you wake up and you suffer. And I started realizing if that's my mentality, this ain't hard anymore. Your new norm is you wake up, you get in the cold water. Whenever they say you're out, you get out. So my new norm, so I do that now today. My new norm now is if I'm doing a 200-mile run, your new norm now, man, is you're doing 200 miles. There may be some days I get up with poopy pants and I'm like, you know what, man, what am I training for? I have no race on the docket. Why am I having such a structured life? Why? And I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I'm done. I retire every day. And I sit around and I say, okay. And then this is my thought process. So you want to be normal. So you just want to be like everybody else that roams the world, not knowing the power that's in them. Being fine with being mediocre. You want to go back to who you were, huh, David? It's those bad days. I see a whole bunch of people walking around out here. We have no idea how talented they truly are. Now I'm talking about talent, like some God-given ability. Talent that sometimes you have to hone, you have to work on, and you have to harness yourself. And they just walk around just on their phones, just clueless to how powerful they are. When I was fat as hell trying to be a Navy SEAL, the scariest thing in the world to me, even to this day, was that could have been the rest of my life. I thought then I was trying hard. I thought that was me at my 100% potential. Come to find out, a few years later, I wasn't anywhere near that. 106 pounds less, graduated Navy SEAL training, went on to do all these other things. Looking back on that was me trying hard. That's why people gotta understand, what is in us, we have no idea until we start trying hard. And I mean really trying hard, where you're obsessed with, hey, this is my new norm. My new norm is that, wow, this isn't always fun. It's not always meant to be fun. And that's when you know you're trying hard. I remember that moment like it was yesterday. I was a fat guy trying to be a Navy SEAL now, and my life had come to this crossroads where I'm like, man, you have to go right. And no one was going right. Everybody was going left. I'm like, you have to go right. And to know the pain and suffering I was about to endure by going right, the amount of accountability and failure I was going to witness and suffer by myself alone on this journey, it was daunting. I have this haunting voice in the back of my head. A lot of us have it. We just ignore it. And it was there for years. So I knew in the back of my mind that I could pull off this whatever I wanted. I knew I could. I knew that, but I was afraid of the work because I wasn't gifted with brains. I wasn't gifted with God-given talent as far as like athleticism. So I knew to get to where I had to go, to be on the same playing field as these men, to even try out for this program, I knew the work was gonna be something that I didn't want to even attack. So I was just putting it off because it haunted me. The voice in my head said, you know what, man, you're gonna die never even trying to reach your full potential. And how's that gonna feel? I believe that your mind lives forever. Some spirit, something lives forever. I'm gonna be haunted and I get to live. So whatever heaven or hell is, you're in hell the rest of your life. And if there is a God, which I hope to God there is, knowing what I put myself through now, whatever memories I have, if there's any at all, I'll be a happy man. But I knew that I was gonna pay for this while I was living or while I was dead. I was gonna pay for this, because basically to me, it was a huge sin. I'm basically just gonna sit here and just be a comfortable man. I'm not even gonna try. You have to have the truth to have a starting point. If I'm lying to you about who I am, or I'm lying to you about whatever, there's no starting point. There's a false reality. You have to create the real reality. So that's what I call my accountability mirror in my book. That's the real reality. Where am I gonna start from? So for me, I was lying to this, lying about that. So I had no starting point. Once you come face to face with who you are, you have a starting point. All right, I'm not real smart. I have no courage. I have no self-esteem. I have no nothing. That's my starting point. Now we can move from there. But if I tell myself I'm strong, I have courage, I'm smart, and all these are lies, you continuously push that starting point backwards. So that starting point is the truth. The no bullshit truth that only you can tell yourself. We love to feel wanted and loved. Trust me, that's all important. It is. But you have to have the truth from people. Hey, you're not working your butt off hard enough. You're not trying hard enough. We all think we're trying hard, but what are you gauging that off of? Are you gauging off of, like I talked to this one kid the other day, college is kicking my ass. I said, what are you gauging that off of? I go, are you trying? He goes, yeah, I'm trying my ass off. I'm studying hard. I go, what are you gauging trying hard off of? Well, in high school, I didn't have to try at all. And I made great grades. In college, I'm trying hard. You're trying hard compared to what you did in high school, which was it came easy to you. So your reality is something that you created off of something easy. So you trying hard is 2 hours of studying. I'm gonna tell you a difference in trying hard and trying hard. Trying hard is something in your mind just doesn't stop, where you know 2 hours isn't enough. So it's all about reality and what you're basing things off of. And I swear to God, people will not believe it. I was over almost 300 pounds twice in my life. A person that does that twice in his life does not enjoy cardiovascular activity, yeah. Okay? So people can put anything they want to in their head. I did realize one thing. The things I don't enjoy that I still do, that's where growth is at. And that's, for me, the only place growth is at, is in that very uncomfortable zone. So I have to visit it every single day. I call it the live autopsy, and also examine other people, because I was really good about putting people way above me, because I was never nobody. So for me to be on the same stage as these great wannabe Navy SEALs and buzz trains, like, my God, you guys are amazing. I actually got here with you all. Thank you so much for allowing me into play. But as I was there for so long, I got a really good chance to sit back because now the cold water is just water now. It's no longer cold anymore. Your mind starts to change. They say get in the water, most people think about it. For you, it became my life. So I started learning that if you start to change your mindset versus it being like, oh my God, this sucks, I became a professional bud student. So I wasn't gonna leave until I graduated. So I started realizing if this is my home, this is what I am. Most of us fail in life because we're afraid of what everyone around you is thinking. That's 100% truth. So we live by the narrative of other people. So a lot of us who are negative people, all we do is project how we feel on other people. So what happens is there's a lot of negative people walking around the planet Earth who are afraid to try. Because a lot of people are very negative in this world. So we are afraid to fail. Why? I told you, man, shouldn't even try it, dude. Just chill out, relax. Why are you so crazy? Why are you so obsessed? When I was in the worst time of my life, I looked at everybody and said, I'm the most trained person here. I've gone through more mental torture than any of you all can even fathom. So I'm looking at the baddest people on the planet. I'm looking at them like this. You guys can't hold a stick. So I started looking at verses like, I don't belong here, versus like, I might be the baddest person to ever come here. Who could have pulled this off? Who could have been given a sewer to live in their mind and say, okay, at birth, I'm gonna put you in the worst place on the planet Earth, and let me see if you can go to the top of the mountain with nothing, but just hard work, grit, and figuring it out and not putting yourself back in the dungeon every time something got hard. So that's what became my daily voice was, you really are the baddest person on the planet. And after a period of time, you start to believe that. That became my new norm. I was able to look at my childhood and how I grew up as the ultimate training ground for my life. Those scars are real. Those scars are proof that your past is real. I own them. Once you are able to look at your life and realize that all these bad things are actually the ultimate training ground for what you're going to, encounter in life, you start looking at your past very differently. There has to be some people like me on this planet Earth. Has to be some warriors out there that are able to take this mindset and do something with it. My goal in life was to, in my mind, believe I'm the hardest man alive. And that's why the whole thing is can't hurt me. That's what it's about. It's about whatever you think you are, you have to make that dream a reality. But that's where the hard part is making that dream a reality. That's where the hard work comes. That's where people know, how do you keep grinding every day? You have to make those insecurities, those fears. Like when I was 300 pounds, I didn't have any drive. There wasn't like a drive to go be a Navy SEAL. I was an insecure, lying kid, afraid. I had to look in my insecurities and in my fear and find drive in that. A lot of us are going through a hard time in life. Some people have been bullied. Some people are just stressed out. Some people are insecure. Some people are fat and overweight. And the world puts a lot of this in your mind. It's not just you. Yeah, you help it. My whole thing is about, I had to develop a mindset that was indestructible. I had to armor plate my mind. And it's about what you're saying to yourself, but it also comes with work. So whenever I was getting beat down, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever I was going through, just saying, you can't hurt me. Can't hurt me just became a message I would say to myself. We're all looking for passion. Passion's all around you. You have a whole stack of it all around you. It's your insecurities. You got to dive deep in that. It's all in there. All the energy and fuel you need is right in yourself. It's all there. You got a lot of stuff to do to overcome. And, that's where I found it. I found it right there in my own insecurities. I found drive in my own insecurities. That's the most powerful thing in the world. When you can find drive in your own doubt, fear, insecurities, you become very unstoppable. What I realized on my journey was a lot of us don't believe that we can achieve the impossible. I discovered something that some people have, but they don't even know. All of us have it. But along this way, I wasn't a theorist. I became a practitioner. And I was like, my God, I'm busting down so many barriers of, I have a learning disability. Okay, but I'm catching up with everybody. I figured that out. I figured out all these negative things in my life that were keeping me in this hole. I'm like, I gotta tell people, man, that hang on a second, man. You can achieve the absolute impossible. You don't need great parents. You don't need like a private school. You don't need to have this humongous GPA. What you need is straight up brutal work ethic. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world. That's the hard part. That's the hard part. This isn't like some 5-step process where if you do these 5 steps, you're gonna end up with this magical world. No, I'm basically teaching you how to callous over your victim's mentality. What I'm trying to do with people is teach them how to find more of themselves to where they empower themselves. I'm all about the underdog. How do I do it? How am I able to do what I do on a daily basis? You know, how do I fight the demons? Because they hear me speak and I'm very raw and real. How do you fight my insecurities? All these things. They're there every day. They're there every day. Like you said, I'm in search for a feeling. I'm not in search for a trophy. I'm not in search for love. I'm not in search for more followers on Instagram or social media. I'm searching for a feeling of true victory for myself and only myself. The second I shut out the whole world and realize that one thing, that I am in this world alone. I'm fighting in this race by myself. No one knows the real truth about me, how hard I really go. I don't care if anybody knows. I don't want anybody to know. I'm an introvert. I live an introverted life. And I love that about me. That right there is my fuel, is I know that there's really no one out there grinding like me. And if they are, so be it. If I know about you, I'll make sure that I up my game. That's what the mentality is all about. My whole thing is a mentality thing.
What the hell are we all waiting for to start attacking life? Waiting for the stars to align? Back when I was growing up, the song came out. All I need is a miracle. Well, guess what? That miracle ain't coming. There is no perfect time to start. So you gotta start now with changing your life. We're all being tested in life. And guess what? This is one test you can't cheat on. We all have our own test. Some of us are obese. Some of us are depressed. Some of us are insecure. And the only way to overcome it is for you and you alone to face it. You have to do your best work when you're least motivated. So those days you don't want to do it, guess what you gotta do? You got a second to do it.
And the whole job of Hell Week is to push a man to your absolute breaking point, to break you after about 72 hours. They want to break you because that is what they're looking for. They're looking for a man who can be broken and within himself, put himself back together while being broken more. I'm going to break you. And while you're the most broken you've been in your entire life, your mind is now saying, I still have almost 100 hours left of training. And I'm the most broken I've been mentally and physically in my life. How am I going to do this? And that's what they're looking for.